Our next speaker is Miss Saroja, who is the CEO and founder at Melorra, one of the fastest growing fashion-inspired jewelry brands. It's my absolute pleasure to call on stage Saroja ji to enlighten us on the changing consumer landscape and jewelry preference in India. Please welcome on stage Saroja ji with a huge round of applause.
Thank you so much for the glowing introduction. Like he said that Bhaskar's leadership has inspired a legion of CEOs, and I'm certainly one of them. I've had the great good fortune of working with Bhaskar in Titan for 13 years, and I worked extremely closely with him. So many things that I do in Melorra are inspired by Bhaskar's leadership. Melorra may be the fastest growing company that many of you may not have heard of. And there is one thing that defines Melorra, and that is its name itself. The meaning of the name Melorra in Nordic mythology means forever young. And hence, we as a company are, everything about us is young. Our age is young. We launched in 2016 May, so we aren't even 7 years old. Our consumer is young. We are very much a millennial and Gen Z brand of choice in the jewelry, mega jewelry industry. We are spotting trends which are led by the young women of India, who is our inspiration. And everything we do is for young women in India. Our employees are young. The average age of our employees is only 27 years old. So everything about Melorra is young, and we wish to remain forever young, to be in a country like India, where we all have spoken through the day about the young population of India, which will be young for a long, long time to come. Like people say, there are no mature markets. There are only mature mindsets. Somebody I know told me this once. And so to be able to conquer different industries and markets, you have to remain young and agile in your mind. That's where it all starts. I started Melorra with the intention to disrupt one of the oldest industries in the world. It's a 5,000-year-old industry. It's a recession-proof industry. It's an industry that penetrates the deepest corners of India and Bharat, and that is the jewelry industry. Women love jewelry. Men may not love to buy them jewelry, but women have their ways of getting men to buy them jewelry. And so we are focused in understanding, and we've approached the jewelry industry, thanks to my background for many years in Tanishq. I approached the jewelry industry with a question of, do things have to be done in this particular manner? Question the first principles of an industry and look at it from the lens of a rising consumer who has very different aspirations, very different needs from their grandmothers and their mothers before them. But I'd like to start with playing one of Melorra's most successful ads. You might recognize the heroine in this film. Can we have the film, please?
Shraddha,
Arey, I can't be wearing this from tomorrow, na?
Lightweight gold jewelry for every day after your wedding. Melorra.
As we know, India is one of the largest consumers of gold in the world. But does it have to be so heavy? Does it have to go into the bank locker the day after you get married? Does it have to be an expensive and impractical purchase? This is what resonated with many young women in India when we did a consumer survey, and that was what started me off on my journey to Melorra. Fundamentally, at heart, we are born of the internet as a company. Culturally, we are a digitally oriented company. I believe in the power of technology to disrupt industries and markets and spot the mega trends, as Ravi mentioned, ahead of the curve. The jewelry industry has been significantly unorganized for centuries. I think the entry of Tanishq brought with it a breath of fresh air and helped organize this mega industry to the extent that it is now 30%. And as all of us know, most of the market leaders in this jewelry business have grown on the basis of exposing the cheating that the local jewelers have been doing for years together. However, I foresaw the time, and it was quite well known, that a time would come when the government would make hallmarking of gold a necessity, a legal requirement, and so how long can a brand differentiate itself on caratage and purity? So when you look ahead and you see where regulation is going to take you, you look where the consumer is going to go, it is really important to be ahead of the curve in building a business. We foresaw that digitization is going to be growing explosively. It is our good fortune that Melorra was born in the year when Jio was launched. And I think very few people could have imagined the internet, the speed of digitization in India across. There are 780 million internet users. I think all this data is quite well known, but it is what drives the tailwinds for Melorra's success. $1 billion internet population is what is foreseen by 2030. This is an incredibly large audience that we are talking about. The young generation, the Gen Z and millennials, have been born, in fact, the Gen Z, most of them have been born with an iPhone in their hand or an Android phone in their hand. They have not known of a world which was devoid of smartphones. And this is the generation that Melorra is completely addressing in its approach. We have combined with low data cost, extremely high engagement rates when you compare India's internet usage with the rest of the world. It is driving truly a digital revolution in India. I think number of eyeballs reached by digital platforms is expected to surpass traditional media as early as 2025. People in the marketing and brand building communication talk about print and TV and all of that. That's all going away very, very quickly. Most of the content that we consume today is coming on digital platforms to all of us. And unfortunately, it is also leading to the rise of mental health issues, as Bhaskar mentioned. And so controlling the consumption, which is in the palm of your hand all the time, is becoming a difficult challenge for most of us, and especially the younger generation. Like Bhaskar mentioned, and we are living it. In Melorra, we are living small towns. And it amuses me when I talk to a lot of industry experts as to what they think are small towns. People think small town is Bhopal. People think small town is Lucknow, No, small towns are way beyond this, right? Bharat is way beyond metros, way beyond tier 1 towns or urban centers. The real action is happening in semi-urban and rural India, and that's where a huge transformation is happening. And companies like Melorra are truly benefiting from the digital revolution that is sweeping the smallest of towns and villages in India. I think what we have seen so far is nothing compared to what we are going to see in the years to come. If you look at the digital media users that don't transact online but consume content, that's already going to be, it is already 500 million and it is going to come down, which means that more and more people are going to transact on the internet. It's already 300 million, expected to double in the next 7 years to a whopping 600 million transactors. These are opportunistic transactors who may not all the time be transacting on digital channels, but equally the mature users who are frequent shoppers. And obviously all of us know that COVID gave a big boost to this segment. And the certain changes are irreversible in nature, and it's important to spot those changes early on. And we believe that the people that will transact frequently, digitally, is 140 to 160 million by as early as 2030. And one can only look ahead beyond 2030 and only imagine what the scale and size of that audience is going to be. Across categories, digital is sweeping the transacting behavior of consumers pre-pandemic, pandemic, and post-pandemic. Look at the rise that is going on in digital behaviors. It's already equal to offline. Offline, Bhaskar is right, is not dead. But consumers, young consumers especially, are very smart in navigating online and offline in a manner that many companies are struggling to understand even now with lack of data about consumer journeys. Contribution of e-commerce to many product categories is truly amazing. Who would have thought that 81% of vacuum cleaners in this country are bought digitally today? Because of the access issues, because of the rising aspirations, and because of the fact that organized retail has only gone so far in India due to the physical infrastructure. While yes, of course, the government is working hard, but I foresaw that in India, unlike in the West, digital economy would grow faster than organized penetration in India would because of the combination of a young generation, cheap data availability, and all of the aspirations that are rising among small town consumers. Company across industries are reporting the fastest growing channel in their portfolio of channels is the digital channel. Be they FMCG companies, be they consumer durable companies, be they retail companies, digital is here to stay. Did we know that footwear for Puma, 50% of sales is online today? 50%. And similar is the story for so many companies. Look at Marks and Spencer, just entered India very recently, 25% of its sales is digital. So across companies, this behavior is being observed, and we are seeing that this is true for even a category that many people thought does not lend itself to transacting online. That's not the case. Today, people are extremely comfortable discovering and buying even relatively high-value products like fine jewelry. Online buyers tend to buy more lightweight items, and combine that with the fact that young millennials and Gen Z prefer lightweight items, you have a deadly potent force that is taking place in terms of choice of the kind of products that the younger people like to buy. Predominantly, online sales in our industry is driven by the 18 to 45 years old. When I started Melorra, people used to say 18 to 25 years old don't buy fine jewelry. That is for beyond 25. Our discovery has been quite the opposite. 18 to 25-year-old segment, which still are probably studying or early jobbers, account for a whopping 25% of our sales. Share of online jewelry is expected to increase to 7 to 10% of the overall jewelry industry. That in itself translates to a $10 billion opportunity for online companies. Look at our own growth. We are living the dream of digitization. We are the beneficiaries of digitization in India. Our app world is just exploding. We have grown from 400,000 app installs to nearly 5 million app installs in guess how much time? 14 months. That's all it has taken us to grow in this manner. And look at our growth in revenue. In spite of COVID, or maybe sometimes because of COVID, it has accelerated our growth. We are a $100 million company, not even 7 years old yet. And this is the power of the digital economy. This is the power of online shopping behavior by the rising young population that every company needs to be mindful of. I am a big believer of digital power for shopping and transacting, even in our category. And perhaps jewelry is the last bastion of Indian e-commerce. And we are here to break the barriers for shopping online for a category like ours, which is relatively so-called touch and feel and high transaction values. We are very confidently projecting that by March 28, Melorra will be $1.5 billion revenue company with a lot of the sales coming digitally from small towns. Now, there is a lot of talk about within e-commerce, there is the talk of DTC. We are in the top 5 DTC brands of India, so I think that makes us reasonably well qualified to define what is this animal called DTC that everybody is talking about. Investors are making a mad rush towards DTC brands. What really is DTC brand? And in I speak at so many forums, I speak to so many industry experts, and I would like to say that, people think DTC is about distribution. But actually, what the incumbent traditional companies don't realize is that DTC is an attitude, first and foremost. It is the attitude of thinking digitally across the entire supply chain. There are many aspects to why DTC brands today are rising in the manner that they are. And distribution is only one of them. Look at company after company in the DTC space. Because of the traditional companies being focused on offline retail, which is largely in the bigger metro and urban centers, the entire Bharat opportunity is being overlooked by organized traditional companies. And that's where DTC brands are really taking advantage of the Bharat opportunity, as I like to call it. For across companies, it is accounting for the bulk of their sales. Betting on customization and personalization. We live in an era where everybody wants their experiences and their products to be customized. It might surprise you to know, but most of our revenue comes from having a no inventory model. Melorra has pioneered the just-in-time manufacturing model, and we have, over time, overcome many challenges and used technology to manufacture at scale. We have the ability to make any jewelry design in gold in just 5 days. 5 days. And that's a world record in itself, I believe. And which means that if you can cut down the time to manufacture across industries, you don't need to invest in heavy inventory. You can be an asset-light company, and most importantly, your product can be innovative all the time, and you can also customize. If you are pushing to the consumer what you have already manufactured, that's not the world that our consumers are living in. They want to be able to customize their own products and their own experiences, and when you can make to order whatever they want to buy, then you are truly putting the empowerment in the hands of the young generation. So all of our products are made to order. We don't own inventory. This is a revolutionary concept in jewelry, and I struggled for the first 3 years to convince traditional mindsets in this industry that there is no need for inventory. Inventory is truly the enemy of innovation. It slows down companies, it slows down new product introduction, and we don't really need it. Manufacturing bottleneck. Rethink the supply chains, rethink what is required to manufacture, rethink most of the manufacturing companies. There is a lot of non-value added processes which can be disrupted through the use of technology very, very smartly. For example, we don't do mold making the traditional way. We use 3D printing. All of our molds are casted. None of them are the way that jewelry companies have done traditionally. We don't do handmade jewelry. No need for it. We can cast it very smartly at much cheaper prices too, which makes the jewelry more affordable for consumers. So what is required is to reimagine supply chains, reimagine manufacturing processes, reimagine time to market. How quick can we live? How quick can we deliver new products to consumers? Product innovation. Company after company in the DTC space is disrupting the incumbents by entering products or offering products to young consumers that the large companies are too slow to react to those trends. Look at Nua, and this is a personal feminine hygiene care product. They have picked up PMS as a big subject. It's not just sanitary pads. It's easing the PMS pain of consumers through electric heat pads and so on and so forth. So there are so many examples. Look at Minimalist as a company and the kind of products that they brought in skincare. So revolutionary new products at a pace that incumbents cannot match is what is really helping DTC brands to scale very quickly. And equally, living in the digital world means mastering digital marketing and influencer marketing. It might surprise you to see an age-old company like Tiffany on this slide, but if you remember, Tiffany struggled to capture the imagination of millennials and Gen Z for a long, long time. Recently, they have gotten better at it, and they partnered with Beyoncé to run a very successful campaign. And if a heritage brand like Tiffany can reinvent itself to be relevant to the young generation and forge partnerships with iconic influencers like Beyoncé, then so can any brand do it. So what are the Gen Z and millennials looking for? Bhaskar talked about the important things in their head and in their mind. And as far as brand choices is concerned, authenticity and emotional connect is very, very important for young millennials. You noticed that Shraddha Kapoor was our brand ambassador, and I want to tell you this story. We launched this campaign right after COVID wave 1, and we were on the horns of a dilemma. We had the choice of 2 or 3 of the largest Bollywood celebrities. We zeroed in on Kiara Advani and Shraddha Kapoor, and we weren't sure which one to go with as our brand ambassador. What we did was we asked our consumers, our young consumers. We did a survey across India, and finally we picked Shraddha Kapoor. Do you know why? Because young female Gen Z and millennial consumers told us that Shraddha Kapoor had just done Stree, which is a feminist film, and Kiara Advani had just done Kabir Singh, which was a misogynistic film in their opinion. Also, they associated more with Shraddha Kapoor given the fact that she works for stray animals, and that was a very important factor to them. So when in doubt, ask your young consumers, ask your young friends, and watch and observe what they like to do, who they connect with, and the brand can't go wrong after that. And that's why, and that's how we pick Shraddha over Kiara. Little things that the young millennials are so particular about. Access to community. I think 60% of Gen Z want to see people with real people. And so many of our campaigns don't have Shraddha Kapoor. They have real people, they have real consumers that we have successfully used in many consumers, many campaigns, and told the story of real people. Sustainability, I think this is very important. Another angle to having no inventory is a lower carbon footprint. Why do you have to have so much inventory? Look at Zara, look at H&M, look at any apparel and footwear company. You know, billions of dollars worth of goods are going into landfills or the ocean. And that's not a sustainable way for this planet. So do away with things that we don't need to manufacture. If there is no demand, there is no need to produce for it. Diversity and inclusion, most important for millennials and Gen Z to be able to see the culture behind a company. And we, in fact, have a very young audience in our employees also, and we put them up on our Instagram account. Our collections are launched by our designers. So put a human face behind your new product introduction to be able to connect to the younger generation consumer. We uniquely, in the world of jewelry, are bringing fast fashion to jewelry. Why? It's very simple. Today, one of the irreversible trends sweeping India is the rise of Western fashion. Most young women today are moving from Indian fashion to Western fashion, and hence 22% growth rate in Western fashion versus 12% growth rate in Indian fashion. And they're very comfortably navigating modern, contemporary, and traditional roles. For traditional occasions, they sport Indian wear, but on a regular basis, they are more comfortable wearing Western. So we are the t-shirt and the denim of the jewelry industry, and not the ghagras and the saris of the jewelry industry, which is the entire jewelry industry. We spot trends very early on. We send fashion experts to the Paris, Milan fashion weeks, understand the trends and bring them into jewelry. And we launched 75 designs every week. That's right, every week we have the design capability that we built in-house to be able to launch at least 75, many times 100, 150 designs in-house. And all remember, without any inventory that we hold for these digital designs. It's only a digital render, and we only start manufacturing once a consumer places an order, which is a very highly scalable, digital-first, asset-light business model that is powering our growth. So in short, we are building the digital Zara, the no inventory Zara of the fine jewelry industry, which is what young women are looking for. And we have the capability to launch a new collection in 30 days, just 30 days, which is unparalleled in the world of jewelry anywhere. So it's a perfect confluence of fast fashion and jewelry, which leads to designs that have never been seen before, which also enables us to command premium pricing and hence the best gross margins in the industry. So like I said, we have embraced the future of jewelry with disruptive manufacturing process, which is entirely CAD-led and casting. And we today can manufacture 94% of our orders without ever having made a mold or a prototype in the exact weight that we estimated when we designed the product. So this is a huge capability that we built in a really short period of time. We talked about distribution. This is the actual locations where we have delivered, way beyond the reach of organized retailers. These are the towns, and this is what I call small towns. You know, towns that you may not have known, towns that you will have to look up on Google to understand where they come from, who these people are, what their population of these towns are. You know, Jamalpur, Kalawad, we won't even know. Most of us living in this room, sitting in this room, won't even know the states and the districts to which these towns belong. That's the power of the digital revolution that is sweeping India and putting the purchasing power in the hands of consumers. I believe there's a word that is used often in retail summits and investor summits called omni-channel. I think it is dead. It is dead because omni-channel is a word used by companies that imagine different distribution channels in silos. That's not how the consumer is thinking. Harmonized retail is the approach that companies should take, where you can easily allow the consumer to navigate between channels very comfortably, because that's exactly what the consumers like to do. Traditional and legacy retail brands world over are embracing the principles of harmonized retail and not looking at channel mix in a very siloized manner. Harmonized retail gives the benefit of a halo effect. Your online sales also grows when you have set up a store in a catchment area. And that's what we are experiencing too. Ulta, the beauty major in US, is allowing online customers to interact via pop-ups. During store visits, customers can connect back electronically. So you're really using the consumer profile, the consumer shopping behavior so far in a very seamless way to make the shopping experience for the consumer. They want to go to the physical store, they want to go online. You know, the company is tracking their behavior and is enabling them to make the right choices for themselves. We are the harbingers of the concept of harmonized retail to India. We have experience centers that we have set up, and it has the exact same content-led approach that our apps and our website do. Whatever content you see on our website, the tablets in our stores bring the same fashion trends to our offline consumers. People that have added to the cart online are called by the store staff, so that there is a seamless experience for them to come and visit the store. The entire online shopping experience can be replicated through huge Bliss Bar screens that are in the store. So you don't like what you see, go to the digital screen right inside the store and order, go home, we will deliver it to you wherever you may be, even in your hometown. If you're traveling to a big city, you're in a mall, you liked something online in our store, go home and we will deliver it to you in a week. Any inventory in our stores, the minimal inventory model, is visible to every single person sitting in India, wherever they may be, in whichever pin code. So it's not just that you have to walk into our stores to see what is there. You can be anywhere and you can view whatever is in any of our stores across India. So there are many, many, many things that we have done to integrate the online and offline behavior. As much as 70% of our consumers before entering our stores have already shortlisted or seen our products and designs on the app and the web. And then they come, many times they buy or they go back home and then they press the buy button. So it's a very seamless behavior that young consumers are exhibiting between the offline and the online worlds in a very comfortable way. And I really believe many companies in India are actually lagging how consumers are shopping. And you need to go ahead of the curve and anticipate consumer needs. Look at it. If you look at our stores, wherever we have set up stores, the online sales in that market has picked up exponentially. This is not the sales of the stores, this is the online sales in that location that has grown exponentially after the store. So what does that tell you? People have seen the brand, got comfortable with it, went back and shopped online. So it's a very seamless integration of online and offline behavior that consumers are exhibiting. Though, of course, online is growing, organized retail is expanding aggressively as well. Most of the retail companies in India have announced huge plans. When you think about Aditya Birla Fashion, one of the larger retail companies, they operate 3,000 stores, which they have set up over 30 years. In just FY24 alone, they want to open 1,000 stores. That is the pace of expansion into smaller town India that you're seeing most retail companies do. Bhaskar talked about how Tanishq is going into smaller towns now very, very successfully. This is our plan. We are very focused, as I mentioned, on semi-urban cities and towns. We're looking to set up about 450 experience centers. I hate to use the word stores because it connotes an old notion of stores. These are truly digital experience centers where consumers, young consumers have the opportunity to interact with the brand and take back and go shop wherever they want, get the product delivered wherever they want. Thank you very much. I just wanted to give you a flavor of what a true digitally native brand building looks like.